Dale Earnhardt Jr. wasn't talking about the race winner after Nashville. Instead, his attention was focused on Cleetus McFarland. Moments after the race ended, Dale Jr. walked over to Cleetus's car on pit road and delivered a comment that instantly caught the attention of fans. Some people thought it was hilarious. Others thought it was brutally honest. But either way, it perfectly summed up the difficult night Cleetus had just endured. And when you hear everything that happened during this race, along with Dale Jr.'s full reaction, you'll understand why so many fans are suddenly debating what comes next for Cleetus McFarland in NASCAR. So make sure you stay with us until the very end, because this story goes much deeper than one joke on pit road. Cleetus McFarland arrived at Nashville Superspeedway hoping for a much different outcome than what happened during his NASCAR debut at Rockingham. After showing flashes of speed in ARCA competition earlier this season, including a second-place finish at Talladega, many fans were eager to see whether the popular YouTuber could take another step forward in NASCAR competition. Driving the number 33 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet, Cleetus entered Nashville looking for progress more than anything else. And early in the race, there were actually some encouraging signs. Because qualifying had been washed out, Cleetus started deep in the field in 38th position. Most people expected a long night. Instead, he gradually began moving forward. Lap after lap, he stayed out of trouble and worked his way into the top 30. At one point, he climbed all the way to 29th position. For a driver making only his second NASCAR O'Reilly Series start, that represented genuine improvement. Even more impressive, race leader and teammate Jesse Love actually helped him stay competitive during the opening stage. But then came the moment that changed everything. As the first stage was coming to an end, Cleetus found himself battling for the lucky dog position, which could have potentially put him back on the lead lap. It was exactly the kind of opportunity every developing driver hopes for. Then disaster struck. Entering turn 4 on the final lap of stage 1, Cleetus lost control. The car snapped loose underneath him. Within seconds, he spun through the grass. Just like that, a promising run suddenly became another frustrating setback. Instead of earning valuable track position, he dropped all the way back through the field and suffered damage to the front splitter. And according to reports from the race, that damage continued affecting the handling of the car for the rest of the night. The frustration was obvious. At one point over the radio, Cleetus summed up the situation perfectly when he said, "All it takes is one effing spin." Unfortunately, the problems were only getting started. As the race continued, Cleetus once again began fighting his way forward. Despite the earlier setback, he managed to recover several positions and worked his way back toward the top 30. Then another major challenge arrived: a green flag pit stop. For experienced NASCAR drivers, green flag pit stops are routine. For someone still learning the National Series level, they're incredibly difficult. Initially, everything looked good. He entered pit road successfully. The crew serviced the car. But as he left the pit box, another costly mistake occurred. The jack was dragged outside the pit stall. The team immediately stopped him, but NASCAR still issued a penalty because equipment had been removed from the box. And that's where the night really unraveled. While attempting to serve that penalty, Cleetus spun entering pit road. That mistake created yet another penalty after he violated the commitment line. Suddenly, one issue became two. Then two became three. The race turned into pure damage control. By the time the checkered flag waved, Cleetus crossed the finish line in 35th position, 6 laps behind the leaders. On paper, the result looked rough, very rough. But oddly enough, many people inside the NASCAR community still viewed the race as a learning experience rather than a complete failure. The final results sheet showed plenty of problems. from costly spins to multiple penalties, but it also revealed something many casual fans might miss. Cleetus was actually showing signs of progress before everything started going wrong. And that's exactly why what happened after the race became so interesting. As fans continued watching Cleetus's in-car stream, NASCAR cameras remained active on pit road. Moments later, Dale Earnhardt Jr. walked over to the number 33 car. Now remember, Dale Jr. has consistently supported Cleetus throughout his NASCAR journey. He's been one of the biggest advocates for helping him learn the sport properly, while also recognizing the massive audience he brings into racing. So fans were curious about what he would say after such a difficult night. What happened next immediately went viral. Leaning into the window, Dale Jr. looked at Cleetus and jokingly asked, "Are you dizzy from spinning around so much?" The line instantly got a reaction. And Cleetus fired right back with, "Come on, man." The exchange lasted only a few seconds, but fans quickly embraced it, not just because it was funny and brutally honest, but because it highlighted the mutual respect that continues to develop between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Cleetus McFarland. What made the moment even better was the fact that Dale Jr. wasn't trying to embarrass him. The joke was followed by encouragement, conversation, and advice. And there was a clear understanding that Cleetus is still very early in this process. That may be the biggest takeaway from Nashville. The finishing position wasn't great, but the learning curve continues. At this stage of his NASCAR journey, every lap, every spin, and every mistake is simply another lesson that could help him become a better driver moving forward. And while critics will focus on the penalties and the final result, supporters are looking at the bigger picture. Just a few years ago, the idea of Cleetus McFarland racing for Childress Racing in NASCAR would have sounded impossible. Now he's competing against professional stock car drivers while learning one of the toughest forms of racing in America. The road hasn't been smooth, but it's moving forward. And judging by Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s reaction after Nashville, one thing is becoming very clear. The NASCAR Hall of Famer still believes in what Cleetus is trying to accomplish. Whether that belief eventually turns into success remains to be seen, but one thing became obvious at Nashville. Cleetus McFarland is still learning, and the NASCAR world is still watching every move he makes. The question now is whether Cleetus can turn these difficult lessons into stronger performances when the next opportunity arrives. Because if Nashville proved anything, it's that NASCAR isn't getting easier, but neither is Cleetus McFarland giving up. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to NASCAR Nation News, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest NASCAR stories, breaking news, and behind-the-scenes moments from around the racing world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.